Shalom, I give all praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, the double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this word. Check out this article out of the Washington Free Beacon, or freebeacon.com, entitled Preparing for Armageddon. Biden administration buys $290 million in radiation sickness drugs. I did an article a while ago about how Russia was also buying up a lot of radiation type drugs to protect its citizens, but none of these drugs are going to matter in that day because scripture says that the whole land, is going to be wiped out. It says the whole 10th part of the city shall fall. So it doesn't matter how many, drugs they buy or, underground bases or whatever, underground shelters. This whole place is going to be destroyed and wiped out from that nuclear destruction. And they also know that that destruction is coming. That World War III, is right around the corner. The Lord will. But it's entitled Preparing for Armageddon. Biden administration buys $290 million in radiation sickness drugs. The U.S. government this week bought $290 million in supplies of a drug designed to treat blood cell injuries following radiological and nuclear emergencies as part of what it said were long-standing efforts to prepare for potential health impacts from threats to national security. When asked whether the purchase, announced Tuesday, was linked to tensions with Russia following the invasion of Ukraine, an HHS spokesperson said it was part of an ongoing effort to prepare for a world or a wide range of threats, including chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and emerging infectious diseases. The funds from the Project BioShield Act, a law passed in 2004, supports the development of diagnostics, vaccines, and treatments to respond to potential health impacts of such threats. When development is successful, HHS buys the products for natural preparedness. Concerns about potential use of nuclear weapons have risen after Russian President Vladimir Putin has issued warnings in recent weeks that he is ready to use them to defend Russia, cautioning it was no bluff. President Joe Biden said on Thursday the threat by Putin to use nuclear weapons in Ukraine has brought the world closer to Armageddon than any time since the Cold War Cuban Missile Crisis. Radiation sickness occurs when a person's entire body is exposed to a high dose of penetrating radiation, reaching internal organs in a matter of seconds. Symptoms include impaired blood clotting, which can lead to uncontrolled and life-threatening bleeding. And the HHS was the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. They're the ones that purchased the drug Nplate from Imogen Inc. So yeah, they know something's coming, but all this is prophecy, Armageddon, Armageddon, mountain of troops. That Armageddon's coming, man. Mountain of troops. First scripture is Isaiah 34 and 1. Come near, ye nations, to hear, to hearken, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. The indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain shall be cast out as dung, their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood, and all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their host shall fall down, as a leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a fig falleth from a fig tree. Yeah, all host, it says all heaven shall be dissolved, and heaven shall be rolled together as a scroll. And how was that in that mushroom cloud? Isaiah saw. You know, he saw that mushroom cloud and how it destroyed. You know, and all of its destruction. So you know those missiles are going to drop. You know, Biden's preparing for it. Uh, Putin's preparing for it, and you know there's just a few more prophecies left before that day comes, man. But yeah, this whole land is going to be destroyed. So you know these radiation drugs are going to be useless in that day. You know, next scriptures are Revelation 11:11, and after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. Yeah, 3 days and a half, roughly 350 years when we came over to this country, you know, in slave ships, up to roughly, you know, 1970, when the word was being taught, up until now, you know, the Most High put the Spirit, you know, in the prophets, you know, to go out to these streets and to teach the word and give them warning from the Most High, of ultimately of this day, you know, the day of the Lord's righteous anger, the day those missiles are going to touch down. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying, "Come unto them, come up hither." And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And uh, that's what we're looking forward to, that salvation, being beamed up into that ship, you know, to escape this judgment. And that's why we're out there, you know. In that same hour, there was a great earthquake, and the tenth part of the city fell. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were frightened and gave glory unto the power of heaven, Most High of heaven, Yahweh. You know, yeah, it says a great earthquake was those missiles touching down. The tenth part of the city fell. You know, it represents all of the landmass of America, from the East Coast all the way to the West. Those different zip codes, area codes, FEMA regions. You know, said in that same hour there was a great earthquake. You know, scriptures say the earth will rock to and fro like a drunkard. You know, when all those missiles hit, touched down. You know, the tenth part of the city fell, and in that great earthquake were slain 7,000 men, the complete number of men. Every person that's standing on the soils of America, and it's not, that don't get beamed up, you know, they're gonna get caught up in that lake of fire. It's gonna burn up, man. So these drugs are gonna be useless in that day. The remnant were frightened, gave glory unto the Most High. You know, yeah, they were frightened. So they're gonna be looking down in those ships, but you know they're also going to get the elect. They're also going to give glory. You know that they were delivered. You know, like scriptures, 2 Peter 3:10. But the day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night, in the which the heaven shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works therein shall be burnt up. Yeah, it says, yeah. The elements shall melt with fervent heat. That's that 1,000,000+ degrees that those missiles are gonna create once they explode on the planet, man. And the earth also shall, and the works therein shall be burnt up. Yeah, so the works of America, mainly just America and Israel, you know, are going to be destroyed. But Israel's going to be built up again, you know. That continued employment. Those are the nations. They're going to build up our kingdom. Last scripture is Romans 13:11. And that, knowing the time, that now is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than we believed. Yeah, so, you know, it's the end game, man. So that's what we look forward to, that salvation. You know, Lord will, we delivered from this Armageddon, this nuclear destruction, you know. Be that first governing body in the kingdom. But yeah, so it's like Russia, you know, they're buying up, you know, drugs to treat radiation sickness. You know, Biden is buying up a bunch of drugs, treating, you know, that radiation. But all that's going to be useless, man, because we just read, the 10th part of the city, so it's gonna fall. So all of America's gonna fall. There's not gonna be any surviving. Those missiles. Only things that are gonna survive. Those desert creatures and different spirits. You know. But yeah, I just wanted to bring up this article. It was dated October 7th, 2022, from the Washington Free Beacon. So the administration knows that something's coming down the pipe. But we've got a couple more prophecies left. You got to watch out for that chip. Invasion of Iran. And then, Lord will, that salvation says now. And that knowing the time, that now is high time to wake out of sleep. So yeah, man, it's time for you to wake out of that sleep, man. If this truth is resonating with you, to pray on it, and cleanse your way, and taking heed to the word. For now is our salvation nearer than we believed. Yeah. But with that, shalom.